For many people, exercise is a crucial part of their routine and can be as important to mental health as it is to physical. These two aspects of life are intrinsically connected. There are three really big categories that stand out to me where exercise helps dogs in mental health. Studies have shown the dog who is not exercised has an increased sensitivity to noise, to people approaching the house, and more territorial behaviors. In general, we don't really need an increase of that stuff out of our dogs. They've got our backs without needing any more encouragement to go bonkers, right? On the flip side, what we see when dogs are exercised are decreased occurrence of behaviors that we don't want to see, such as tearing up the house when you're gone for a day because the dog's got too much energy. Cortisol is a stress hormone produced by the adrenal glands. Cortisol activates the sympathetic nervous system. This is most connected to the fight or flight state that we go in as humans. Too much cortisol leads to an overload of stress, which causes a myriad of problems. Anxiety and depression, what we call the 4 F's, fighting, fleeing, freezing, and fidgeting, all signs of discomfort from a dog. And then lastly, it can lead to degenerative diseases, actually induce the growth of autoimmune diseases such as Cushing's disease, which by definition is an overproduction of cortisol in the body, and it's a lifelong condition once a dog acquires it. So too much cortisol equals too much stress, and we're looking to find balance. Do we really want our dogs living in a state of high stress, cortisol dominated state of being? No, we don't. Ultimately, exercise helps lead to better behavior, better health, and more successful training, driven by a reduction in cortisol and increase in dopamine. This is the reward neurotransmitter that our brain and our body is flooded with when we encounter a good experience. It's responsible for inducing motivation to both bond with humans and perform tasks or learn. Dopamine is the basis for some popular terms that are thrown around in the training and behavioral world, such as positive reinforcement and pavlovian conditioning, which is a training method that I'm a big fan of integrating into your overall training strategy, and I think should be like a dominant overriding force in the way that you approach training with your dog. Let's just say a dog's scared of a vacuum cleaner. So you turn on the vacuum cleaner, the dog starts to show a stress response, right? They avoid it, they take a few steps away from it, they run into the other room. Well, what you want to do here is break out some treats and just start putting them around where the vacuum cleaner is. Give them to your dog at first at a larger distance from the vacuum cleaner, and then as they show less and less of a stress response and more comfort around their trigger, then you move closer to the trigger and continue to treat them to develop that positive association. The driving factor behind what is known as positive reinforcement or counter conditioning is dopamine. I don't necessarily like to think about things in terms of positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement. I like to think about things in terms of a cortisol-driven state of being or a dopamine-driven state of being. The reason for the distinction, or frankly, the addition of dopamine into the conversation of positive reinforcement, is that our dogs aren't robots. They're intelligent, supremely evolved mammals who can do all sorts of things, and they think independently. So it's not just like you put them in position X, they're conditioned to do Y. Dogs are making the choice to make that Y behavior in the X situation as a result of getting dopamine, getting that reward. So my dog Daphne is a service dog. In her normal life, she would be going out and about with me, and her exercise needs would be taken care of through going to stores, traveling from destination A to B. Now, when I first got Daphne, I was recovering from a brain injury. One of the main symptoms that is typical for brain injury and that I experienced is fatigue. So I wasn't able to exercise a 1-2-year-old German Shepherd by myself to meet her needs. So she would have the right type of behavior, so she would have the right type of development. What we did is I needed to exercise and get out of the house in order to help myself get better from my injury. And so we integrated exercising Daphne along with training her and along with the tasks which she performed with me, some of which were off leash, and directly contributed towards my brain getting better. When you do exercise, dogs get all sorts of feel-good hormones and endorphins running through their body. Dogs become more cooperative and they're more motivated to perform certain behaviors when they exercise. It leads to an increase in focus, increase in neurogenesis, which is the healthy development of new brain cells, so intelligence. Exercise your dog is going to be smarter than if you didn't. And then finally, the other big area is physical health. Exercising floods our body with all sorts of feel-good hormones, chemicals, which are responsible for good internal functioning and protection against the development of bad biochemicals. In the long term for dogs, this can lead to a decrease in muscle mass and mobility problems down the road, which means they're going to be able to exercise even less as they get older. It's going to be potentially painful for them to exercise and to do these other things that required to maintain homeostasis or a balanced state in the body and a healthy mind, body, and soul. And so there's really a reverberating effect throughout the life of a dog in terms of consistently exercising them and the impacts that it has on other parts of their lives. So those are just a few ways that exercise helps the mental health of dogs. We got our article on wisewolves.com. Go check it out to learn more.